Part 2 of Punting Melbourne Style, Ralph Malph and Potsy edition, racetrackralphie.com.au and Darren Potter raceassessments.com.au, and you, to your website, got an email about mapping.
I did. So those, we'll have a conversation about this, and I'll mention at the end something that happened at Pakenham yesterday, because it's on this subject. And so that people that want to get my sort of stuff for those meetings on Sunday, and I send out stuff 5 days a week, go to Darren Potter Race Assessments, and that's the Potts Play service, just $20 a week. And I seem to have a lot of luck on Sundays. It seems to be a set of circumstances that works for me. I think
I had a lot of luck yesterday. Did not move from the couch from 1 till 6. What a great day.
What a day. What a great country.
Bulldogs at Essendon, ball up Collingwood, Adelaide. What's in the email?
So, Ray's a keen viewer.
Yep.
And he's written to me a few times. Unfortunately, Ray, every time you've written to me, it's when I've got home from doing the show. So by the next week, I've forgotten completely that you had an email that we should have been discussing. But I brought this one out, and I'll just read it quickly. He's enjoying our show.
Thank you, Ray.
He thinks we're to the point in enlightening. That's, well, you know, some might agree. He wanted us to discuss maps on the show. Ray's a long-term punter himself, and my feeling is from the emails he sent me that he's a very good punter.
Yep.
His view is that it's really important to do the maps yourself, and that's what he uses to help defend his stake.
Yes.
Okay, so he then goes on to talk about using those maps for future reference, and he also talks about the computer-generated maps and how, you know, RaceNet, Tab, and others have got these computer-generated ones that you can use.
Yeah.
The problem with that is it robs you of your feel for the race. So if you just use one that someone else has generated, it's a shortcut. But if you do it yourself, it'll give you additional feel. So he just wanted to sort of talk about some of those issues, how we do maps, what are the main things, and so forth. So where do we start?
Well, I reckon you start here is that, and you tell me if I'm wrong. I haven't looked at those type of maps. I just do my own work. But my first starting point of trying to do things seriously, say 10, 12 years ago, was likely leader, likely handy to the speed, likely midfielder, etc., etc. But in actual fact, because I wasn't using stuff that measured horses, I wasn't doing a speed map, I was doing a positioning map. And I would assume that a lot of those type of corporate maps are positioning maps. In other words, if you know that a horse is really fast, and it generally sits handy, and it's against 2 leaders that he's faster than, he's going to be greatly advantaged if he gets that trail, because he's using energy that he doesn't need to use. But if you're only doing a positioning map, you go, well, you have to lead there and you have to lead there, and you'll be advantaged because it's Moonee Valley. It's still about talent when it's all said and done. Is that fair?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So I think, just commenting on those computer-generated maps, it depends on how complex the algorithm is that they've used to generate it. So they might be using an element of early speed if they've got access to the right sort of sectional data, or they might just be using a historical
PIRs,
where horses have been positioned in run. So you know, to me, if you're serious about producing accurate maps, you have to use both. Yes. You have to understand the talent level of a horse and its inclination to be where it wants to be in the herd.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a really key feature, and what it's been trained to do.
Yeah.
There's sort of like 3 features. You know, as we've seen, as all our viewers would know, different trainers, from the minute they get a horse into a stable, train horses, you know, to either take up on-pace positions or so in Gay Waterhouse's case, for instance, it's all about, she trains them to get to their natural tempo quickly and take up on-pace positions. Other trainers, say the Hawks team, for instance, they're all about teaching the horse to conserve its energy. Waller's the same, you know. So there's different trainers train their horses in different ways, and then the horses get used to occupying that place in the pack.
Yep.
And so that all those things matter. Because more often than not, particularly when you get above fields of 12, you'll sit down and you look at them, and there will be a reasonably even spread of horses that want to be on pace, midfield to handy, and back, mid to back, right? But not always the case. Sometimes it's different, and sometimes you'll find a race without a leader completely, and the only thing you can use is really their their natural speed ability, really.
Yes.
You know, that's all you're left with in those situations, and jockey attitudes and things like that. So you've got to sort of take all those things into account when you sit down with to do a map. So I think I've discussed it before, but when any race I'm assessing, the first thing I do is I put the field in barrier draw order,
Yep.
and I start from there. And I do it to try and get a feel for the race. I'm trying to picture the race before it's run,
Yep.
and get some idea, you know, what sector of the race is going to be the best place to win this race
Yeah.
from. And I use a combination of those PIRs and their natural speed.
And I think you'll be the same here. One of the ways, let's say those computer-generated maps are really good. So they're not just PIRs, they're speed algorithms and all that type of stuff. I think to beat the really smart players in the big teams, your advantage can be knowing a region and knowing an area,
Yeah.
and knowing the quirks of jockeys, knowing the quirks of trainers, knowing the quirks of tracks. That will sometimes overcome those type of things. A couple come to mind during this discussion. Horses that are fast leaders, once they get older, with the exception of, you know, let's take the cleaner aside, that type of freak, if they come off a really fast race, particularly if they run within a week or 2 weeks, and they're older, they'll almost find it impossible to match that speed next up. And the recent example, I'm just sort of on the spot, was Lord Durrani come off a real brutal race. I think Radipole won in Caulfield, and they decided to back it up a week later. We saw one of the great winter rides, like John McNeil on Pakadali. He sat 3 or 4 lengths off Lord Durrani, who was walking.
Yeah.
So Extra Zero, who, you know, some of the ratings blokes found it, because Fleming 2000 and all that, and there was going to be a leader, which was Lord Durrani. But by sitting off Lord Durrani and doing nothing, Lord Durrani's tired anyway from the exertion the week before, led it at a walk. So then Pakadali is running second at a walk, leaving everything behind him, basically in a mathematically impossible position. So that's those little quirks that you can sometimes find from really knowing a region. And, you know, when we find those things, we get pretty happy, don't we? Because it's something you got to beat the smartest players in the room to do it.
Yeah, that's a great example of needing to be flexible, because that was the race that was marred by the two 9 to 4 favourites both being scratched within half an hour of the jump of the race. So Shower Star and Kalani Kid came out of that race. And whether by accident or on purpose, Dry McNeil adjusted.
Yes.
And anyone that was able to, you know, use their map to predict that would have backed that horse for sure.
Have you got a speed map that you were pumped about that come to mind for yourself? But do you think, well, I got that other people didn't see?
Well, I mean, it comes to mind because it's recent. Yesterday at Pakenham, Emoji was certain to either lead or sit outside the lead. I think there were only 10 starters, and there were 7 back markers in the race. There was just no pressure in the race at all. And Emoji's run at Caulfield that he was coming off was as good as Mr. Optimistic and almost as good as Orient Line.
Yes. Yep.
When they used the inside lane that day, which was a significant advantage, and he went wide, and he finished, you know, only within 2 lengths of them. So, you know, that was an example where the map was very usable. So I think one of the interesting facts about maps is just the way that the big teams do use them. They're while they don't have the individual knowledge of all these horses, jockeys and stuff that we have from specialisation, they've got these brilliant computer systems that pick all these things up. So no human brains on top of it all, but their system is. And when they identify a pattern for the day or for a race or whatever, they bet so heavily to these maps. And that's how they're able to get a lot of these horses so short when, say, someone using rating or whatever can't get them short enough.
Yes.
My view is that they use what they've identified in the map and the pattern of the day and all those, you know, factors. That's how they get them. So if I bring up a recent example at Caulfield of Schism, okay?
Yes.
I couldn't find a way to get her to 5 to 4, right? But clearly all the big teams, Dr. Nick and Jelko, and because it started so short, you know, they all had it 5 to 4, and that was all about the map.
Yes. And by extension, when you get a race, sorry, not even whether you get a race right or wrong, when you see a robot, the robots team, as DK comes up with, when they smash one, really learn from it. And the best way I say to learn off it, and that's whether they get it right or wrong, Why did they smash it? Why did they like it so much? Because sometimes, it's okay, he calls it the global explosion.
Yeah.
They zero in on the wrong factor. It's rare, they build museums out of their winnings, they're really good at what they do, but sometimes their factors are wrong on the day, or in that race. But that'll teach you, right, this is what they look for. So if you like one on race morning, and it happens to tick the same boxes that you know that they're going to like Schism, I didn't know it was the same as you on the day, but once they liked it, they kept loving it. If you find the same type of horse that they're going to like, you may as well shop early, because it ain't going to start once they open their shoulders when there's liquidity in them.
Absolutely. Too right.
And just one to finish with, which is where they got it wrong, which in the Newmarket handicap. I had a real template in that race, won by Redkirk Warrior. He had the best 800 metre sprint in the race. Regan Bayliss won that race by not restraining that horse and riding to the map. He just said, where do you want to go? Well, after 400 metres, when he's 3/4 of the length from the lead, and the happiest horse in the race, he may as well have been 3 to 1, not 33 to 1. So that sometimes there's those inefficiencies, and when it's amazing, once good jockeys ride with confidence, Lane comes to mind, apart from the natural leads like Ollie and Bowman and Williams and all that. But once Regan Bayliss or Damien Lane and Bo Mertens recently, once they get in the zone, it's amazing how well they just put their horses in the right spot without even trying.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think when they're in form and they're not overthinking it.
Yeah.
Just go with their horse.
Yeah.
They get the most out of it. Your point, just on what I was thinking as you were making that point, Ralphie, is that there's no doubt that the hardest races to map are straight races. Yes. I mean, it's almost a fruitless task. It's almost you're only getting some idea of where they're going to be on the track.
Yeah.
Because predicting what the jockeys are going to do.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of evidence that they're not getting good. They're not able. They don't have the skills to walk the track accurately, and they're not getting that sort of information to help them go to the right spots. Yeah. So predicting where they're going to go is, it's a lucky dip.
Yeah.
And then none of the race dynamics that exist on turning tracks that force them to make certain decisions.
Yeah.
They're not. They have this. It's sort of left up to them, and it becomes very random. So the straight races are a real. That's straight races are a situation where the maps lose their relevance, I think.
Yeah, and that to me, I don't know about you, but it affects my confidence in straight races usually. Anyway, I hope that helps.